Thank everyone for joining us today. We have Orcam representatives, Michelle and Amina, that are going to demonstrate the Orcam device. It's a really, really awesome device. I'm excited to have them today. I'm going to turn off my camera and let them take on.
Thank you. So for the purpose of this demonstration, what I'll ask is, Ashley, if you don't mind not sharing your screen, because actually we'll be right here live with you guys. So real quick, my name is Amina Salman. I am the regional sales manager for Orcam for the southeast part of the country. I am located actually here in Alabama, Phoenix City, a small little town. And I'm joined here by Michelle Mendez, who handles our national veteran accounts. So I'll let her introduce herself in just a moment. But just as a quick brief overview of Orcam, it is an assistive technology device. We have two devices that we'll go over here in just a moment. The Orcam Read device and the Orcam MyEye. Before I continue, I just want to make sure that everyone can see me. Maybe Ashley, if you can unmute and just let me know that you can, that I'm showing up on your screen, because I want you to be able to see these devices. Are we being
great
shown?
From here?
Okay, great.
I see you.
Wonderful. Okay, so like I said, we have two devices. One is the Orcam Read and the other is the Orcam MyEye. The major differences are going to be in functionality, of course, but as well as the Orcam MyEye is a wearable device. So you see that I just put that on my glasses here. It does come with mounts for your glasses. So I'm going to bring it all the way up to the camera. And this is for the purposes of the recording. But for everyone else, just so you know, it does have a small little mounted piece here that the Orcam MyEye clicks into. We'll get into it a little bit in detail here in just a moment. So I'll start with my Orcam Read device. This is a handheld device that's about the size of a pen. I'm going to even hold it like a pen or a marker. On the top of the device, again, for the purpose of the recording, I'll bring the device here close to the camera. But for everyone else, there is a round button, a plus and a minus, and a power button. So really simple buttons here at the top. One is the trigger to make it capture the text that you want it to read. The other two have some additional functionality. And then of course your power button. About the device, it does have 4 hours of continuous battery life that are notated by the lights that are at the top here. You'll notice that I have two illuminated. I have about 50% battery. It'll last me 2 hours of continuous use. So that's clicking the button over and over. I'll show you and get into exactly what it does now. I have a simple card here in front of me that has some words. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take the front of this Orcam Read device. In the case of visually impaired or blind patients and customers, they can go ahead and put that device directly on the page they want it to read, pull back about 10 inches. That will activate the camera itself when you're placing your finger on the button. I'm going to release, and it's going to take.
Point, click, read, benefits. What is 17 life changing?
So what it started to do is it went ahead and it started to read from the top to the bottom of this little card that I have here. The Orcam Read device will read on any surface. So that's your computer, your phone, a book, a tablet, whatever you need it to read. The first question I always get about this device is how far away can it read? And I will tell you, I tested that this last week at a conference. It can read significantly far away so long as the letters are fairly large. So imagine just like a regular camera, if you can't see it on a regular camera, the Orcam Read is not going to see it for you, right? So it does read considerably far away, just making sure that that text is larger. The other neat thing about this device is that if you can see, then it does have that rectangular box. Let's see if it will allow me to show you. It doesn't seem like it's really getting it with my with the lighting that I have, but it has a box that is a laser that comes out of the front of this device So if you are able to point that laser, then you can do that. Otherwise, a simple point and click will work. It is the only device that does full page capture. So in the event that the person wants to read a book, and another question we get is, will it read both pages? Yeah, it totally will. It'll capture the entire thing. It'll read from left to right. And there's some additional functionality within the Orcam Read Smart that I think is pretty neat. You can trigger it. So we're used to saying, hey Siri, hey Google, hey Alexa, hey Bing, or whatever else is out there now. And Orcam can do the same thing. So I won't trigger it here, but I could say, hey, oh, smart reading, and it will begin to capture the page in a way that allows, oh, it just did it. No matter that I didn't want to trigger it, it did it anyway. So no matter what you're doing or what you're looking at, you can actually ask it to suss out specific information for you. So let's say you're reading a bill or things like that, and you'd like to know the amount. The device can do that for you. So with that being said, I'd like to also show you what it looks like to read out of a menu. Allow me to readjust here. In our house, we really like barbecue. That's a very Alabama Southern thing. So I have my little Hog Rock barbecue menu here. In the case where I'd like it to read what sandwiches they may offer, all I have to do again is point, oh, there's our laser box. Point, click, release.
Sandwiches, pork sandwich, specified chop in bite size or sliced in layers. Chip sandwich.
I have it on the lowest or the slowest reading speed here. So that's another thing I want to mention, is that it can read a lot faster. I just have it on the slower one so that it captures all the audio that I want it to capture. The other thing is, let's think about if in the case of a student or somebody that just prefers auditory privacy, this can connect to Bluetooth headphones and also has a wired headphone capability right in the back. So again, in the case of a loud environment or an environment where somebody would like auditory privacy, you can connect the device to the Bluetooth headphones or the wired headphones. With that being said, like I said, it's a very easy device to use. It takes probably less than 10 minutes to train on the device, since it's a point and click solution. With that, I'd like to ask Michelle, are there any additional things you would like to mention about the Orcam Read before we get into the Orcam MyEye?
No, I think you did a great point of highlighting the main features of the device.
Great.
It's a very simple device.
If anyone has any questions with regard to the device itself, you're welcome to unmute your microphone now and ask those questions. Or you can wait till the end. It's up to you if you'd like to see a specific thing about the Orcam Read device. I'll give everyone just a moment before I move on to the MyEye.
And feel free to use the chat as well. If you feel more comfortable with the chat asking questions, feel free.
I have a question.
Sure.
What is the price of that? The Read Smart.
The Orcam Read device for pricing is going to vary based on if the person you're asking about is a veteran, if they're working directly and getting this for free through their state agency. There's quite a bit of variability depending, and I apologize, give me 1 second while my Orcam makes its decision to turn on. There's quite a bit of variability with regard to the pricing, but I'm happy to send you an email on that stuff. Yeah, Melinda, great question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And if you don't mind, you can privately message Michelle or I what your email address is. That way we can send it over to you. Yeah.
Okay.
But just so you know, Melinda, MSRP on the device is $1,990. That's the MSRP on the Read Smart.
Okay, and that's what you would lose. That's what use if you had no vision, right? Versus the other, or no? Oh.
Yeah, actually, if you have no vision, you're probably going to want to use the Orcam MyEye here. And I'll get into that one as well.
Okay.
So the Read, yeah, the Read is a point-click reading solution. you could have it read anything that has text, right? But you also have the Orcam MyEye device that offers slightly more independence with regard to folks who might be completely blind.
So can I just clarify, the Read has fewer features than the MyEye? Is that correct? Okay,
That's
and so it's really good even for individuals who have like a reading disorder. If
Wow.
they need
Absolutely.
assistance reading textbooks or notes. I've even had an individual working in a facility where they needed to direct customers and guests, but they needed to be able to read the signs on the wall. So the quickest way to read the signs on the wall would be to use this Orcam Read and be able to just point and click and have it read out loud so that they can make sure they're directing guests in the right direction. And so this would not necessarily be for someone who's just blind or low vision. This could be used for other diagnoses as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got it, Ashley. Yeah, there's so many users for this that are outside of that low vision and blind people. So with regard to the Orcam MyEye, you see it here, there are several ways to activate this device. You can tap, you can talk, or my favorite, you can use your pointer finger. So let me use my pointer finger. With the Orcam Read, remember and recall that you press a button to get it to take that picture and start reading back to you. And with the Orcam MyEye, what you'll do, let's see, make sure that I'm in view here, is you'll point with your index finger. It takes that picture.
Benefits. Enjoy reading independently
And it
rather than avoid
begins reading back to you. So that feature with your index finger there is a way to activate the device. I could also activate it by tapping it on the side to get it to take a picture. Another way to sort of deal with this device is it has some gesturing. The Orcam Read does not have a gesture, right? The Orcam MyEye has gesturing. And what do I mean by gesturing? Well, number one, you saw me use my index finger. It's reading that nail. It's taking a picture.
The time is 1:16 p.m.
Number two, and the second one you might have heard there, but you may not have, is I'm not wearing a watch, but if I bring my hand
The
up,
time is 1:16 p.m.
it automatically tells me the time based on that wrist gesture there. So you don't have to be wearing a watch, which is pretty futuristic if you ask me. If it's reading, and I'll show you this as well, when it begins to read here, if I want it to stop reading,
Chef salad.
all I have to
Chef
do
salads
is
are
reach my hand up, and I've stopped it from reading there with the 5 fingers right directly in front of the camera. So again, for the capabilities, it has quite a bit more features than the Orcam Read, and it's also a wearable device. So as part of the hardware, there is a small microphone, or I'm sorry, speaker, not microphone, in the back here. That's directly feeding right above the ear. But again, if you'd like Bluetooth headphones, you can utilize the Bluetooth headphones in the case of a busy environment. So I'll display some of the smart reading features now directly with my menu. So for example, we might go to a restaurant and I just want to see what side dishes they have. So this side of my menu has some side dishes. So I'm going to trigger the device to do some smart reading here. Hey, Orcam, smart read.
Note that some of the text was unreadable. Ready.
Start with side dishes.
Side dishes: baked beans, coleslaw, F, barbecue slaw, potato salad, Brunswick stew, chili small.
So you notice that when I asked it to start from that particular area on the menu, it started from that area on the menu. So think about bigger restaurants you might be in that have appetizers, that have burger options, that have salads. I just want an appetizer. Start from appetizers, and it reads that. The other thing,
Couldn't find.
it's going to trigger. There we go. So the other thing that it can do is, let's say you just wanted wings. It would start from that as well and tell you all the wing options. So it's quite versatile in what this particular little tiny device on the side of your glasses can do. You might ask, okay, Amina, well, what's the battery life in this one versus the battery life in the Orcam Read? It's going to be different, right? Because this is such a small device. You can see how big it is here. We didn't want it to weigh it down. You notice how on my glasses themselves, when I place that device, it does not tip or weigh my glasses. So the battery life is an 1.5 hours of continuous use. That is continuously clicking to make it take a picture. We're not going to be doing that for an 1.5 hours, right? It's going to read back to us. We're going to take a break. We're going to get a coffee. Things are going to happen in between, but an 1.5 hours of continuous battery life. Some other things I want to mention about the actual hardware itself is you can turn up the volume or turn down the volume by swiping forward or swiping back on the device itself. Again, being a very futuristic kind of thing. Some other things that it can do is it can recognize barcodes. So there are about 1 million barcodes loaded into this little device. So if you're at the store, it can read that barcode for you. And it can also recognize colors in really high light levels. So it'll recognize colors for you. It'll do some barcodes and even a money note. So you might be holding, and I just suspended my headset here. So you might be holding a particular money note. I have a $5 bill here. Since all of the notes in the United States are the same size, that makes it very challenging, right, for visually impaired or blind people. A lot of folks will have a folding technique that they use, and that's great, but it doesn't work when you're getting change back from somebody, right? So they could count it out to you, but how do you know? All you have to do is put the money note in front of the Orcam device and it'll say that money note. So you guys might not have heard it there. So I'll back it up here. This is the $5 money note. I have my Orcam. It's directly at that 5 and it's telling me that it's $5. So that's also another really great feature for patients and customers alike. Thoughts, any questions so far on this device?
Hi, I have a question.
Hey, Deidre.
When you do the index pointing feature, what is the camera actually tracking?
Yep, good question. It's tracking my nail here. So just so long as that nail is pointing up, oh, it's doing it. It just read your name to me. So that's pretty funny, but it's tracking the nail itself.
Awesome. I see you have on nail polish. So does it pick up, does it need a certain level of contrast between the nail and the person's skin to pick it up?
Oh, no, not at all. No, you'll see that mine's like kind of orange, even a little flesh colored looking. So no, it doesn't matter the color of the nails, or these are also acrylics, just so you know. So yeah, it doesn't matter. That's all fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. One other thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that it will also recognize faces. And so when working with faces, first we have to program a face into here. And when we're programming the face, I know you guys heard me say it's a camera on here. So when we're programming that face, it's actually an algorithm that is taking the measurement from the nose to the lips, to the chin, to the eyes, the middle of the pupil, and the forehead. And it remembers those measurements. So the next time you're in front of me, it says, hey, Michelle is in front of you. And so it can recognize up to 100 faces that you store in the device. You can see how that might be useful for quite a number of people, even outside of the low vision realm. I see that there, oh, Michelle's got the question. That is great. Yes. So
we'll go ahead and read that out loud and answer it just for those who can't.
Yeah, of course. So Julia said, understanding that it may not work as well in poor lighting, is there an option to disable the flash on the camera, for example, for an individual photosensitivity? Great question. Michelle responded, yes, you have the ability to turn off the flash either manually in the menu with a voice command or through the Orcam app. You saw that it triggers that light, especially if it thinks there's not enough light, which I believe there's enough light in here, but sometimes she'll trigger anyway. The answer is yes, you can always turn off that flash in a variety of ways. Other questions about the device itself?
How does the facial recognition handle masks?
They have to take their mask off for you to be able to program their face into there, for sure. And so since that's only about half of your face, sometimes even just a quarter of your face, depending on how many masks you're wearing, we always suggest to pull the mask down so that that AI can read the face properly. Good question, Ben. Thank you.
How is the device charged? Can you?
Oh yeah, great question. So the Orcam Read is charged with a standard USB-C. This is your typical Android cord that's going to work for an Android phone now. And the reason they chose that is because it does not matter which way, upside down, you put into the device. You can just slide it right in there and it'll begin charging. With the Orcam Read, being that it's a smaller device and utilized more in that low vision section, it actually has a magnet. So the cord itself just magnetizes to the back of this and charges just like any other USB device, which is pretty neat that they thought of that. Yeah. As Michelle mentioned in her response to that question, there is an Orcam app. So if you're an app heavy person or you just like apps, you can control the device and settings through the app as well. But all of those things are housed within the device itself. So you can always say, hey, and then the device name, and it will respond to you to get into that settings menu. Other thoughts, Michelle? Are there things you'd like to add about either?
Sure. We do have. Do you have your Charge Me near you to share our accessory, our Charge Me?
You know, I don't have it right here.
No.
No.
If not, I have mine.
Okay.
So there is an accessory here called the Orcam Charge Me. It's very similar to when you think of your Apple AirPods, that their case is their own charger. Well, that's the same concept with this Charge Me. The device will simply sit right in and begin charging your device. So you can hear charger connected. 71% and it's charging my device. There's also a clip here on the back of the device. So you can actually clip it onto your pocket, clip it onto your waistband. Sorry, it's connected to my Wi-Fi in your home. So you can clip it onto yourself, clip it on, to a pocket. But what's nice about this is that it also allows you, it serves as a power bank. So you can physically be wearing your device. So I'll attach my device onto my glasses. And there is a cord that we provide. There's a cord that we provide that connects from your Orcam to the base of this Charge Me. This Charge Me gives you up to 4 additional hours of use. So let's say that you're on a plane and you're going to be reading for several hours. No worries. You can simply connect the cord to your Orcam from the Charge Me and continue to use. So for people who need to be working a lot during the day, they need to be using this device, no worries. You can take it on and off, place it in the device, or use the actual cord that connects.
Yeah, that's a great, definitely a great feature for those of you that are thinking about people who would want to use the Orcam MyEye and maybe longer than that hour and a half. The Charge Me is a great solution for that. Thank you for showing that, Michelle.
You may want to talk a little bit about the fact that we work offline, so the security of the device.
Oh yeah, always a good thing to mention, which is usually flies out of my mind because I love it so much. It's just like, oh, of course, every device should be like this. As Michelle mentioned, we are offline. So what does that mean? That means nothing is being stored in the device. Well, wait, Amina, you said faces. I did say faces. It's not the face. It's the algorithm. It's those measurements that are being stored, not your true face. Nothing is being stored in the device. Once you point and click, You can remove whatever it is that you pointed and clicked to, including with the MyEye. It will read it. Once it's done reading, that information leaves the device. So nothing's being stored. We're not on Wi-Fi. We're not, connected to the cloud and getting all this information, which is a big problem nowadays, right? All of our personal information is leaked all around the internet. So it's super nice that Orcam is a device that doesn't do that, because it doesn't connect to the cloud. You can, like Michelle said, you could use this on an airplane. It doesn't matter. It'll still work because we're not cloud-based. They've put all the technology into the two little devices, which is really neat and great for privacy concerns as well. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Michelle.
It's whether you have a student that's using it in the classroom. If you think about it, if the device took a picture and was able to store and then download and shared, the student wouldn't be able to use it in the classroom. Or if you have somebody that's working in a HIPAA compliant environment, some type of financial institution where things are sensitive materials. So that's why we pride ourselves on the zero connectivity. Everything is, all the computations done on the device. There's nothing that's exported. Like Amina said, sometimes, you want to record somebody's face and they're like, oh no, I'm not made up. My hair's not done. No worries. Nothing is being exported anywhere. So in reference to privacy in the school or the workforce, it's really important that people know that our devices do work offline.
We'll open it up to the group here. There's quite a few of you. If you guys have any questions about the device itself. Oh, is it waterproof and water resistant? Well, certainly do not take this on your swim lesson. It is like splash resistant. Yeah, I've also dropped this thing quite a bit and it still works. So that's something to note. But certainly we don't want you dunking it under the water or anything like that. But if you're wearing it, let's say you're working out or something like that, it's got a little sweat marks on it, quick splash, that's going to be totally fine. But it is not rated for underwater use, although that would be really neat. I'm thinking of like all the underwater caves that have signs and maybe you want to Orcam them. You cannot. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's water resistant. You want to treat it the same way you treat your cell phone. If you're coming in from the rain, we know a lot of the visually impaired, they rely on public transportation, they walk. So the issue of things being waterproof or water resistant are important. So the device is water resistant. If you're coming in from the rain and it gets wet, it's okay. Now, if you leave it outside the rain, you're going to have an issue. So you want to treat it with the same sensitivity that you treat your cell phone. It's that same type of technology. So you just want to treat it the same way.
Yep.
Oh, how much is that one? How much does that one cost?
MSRP is $4,250.
And how would you qualify for one? If you're, with help to pay for it, if you're like a college student?
Oh, you'd have to get with the state regarding how that works. We are not sure, like from state to state, they have programs, but as far as qualifications, we're not the best people to answer those.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
You would want to reach out to your vocational, your counselor. Be registered with vocational rehab and reach out to your counselor.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I would definitely start there, Melinda. Voc Rehab may not be able to fund it, but I would at least start there and see if they can find some funding or at least assist in funding a device like this. Because it is assistive technology and it does help with vocational goals.
Right, okay, thank you.
I do have another question for you ladies, because we have several people attending who are actually evaluators who might actually recommend the device to a client. So where could they go in the state of Alabama to trial the device with the client to make sure it works for their needs?
So yeah, go ahead, Michelle.
No, go ahead. I believe that we can get back to you. I believe that AIDB has devices. We also work with Dr. DiCarlo
at UAB.
At UAB. is another way, but you can always reach out to us directly and we're happy to help organize any type of demonstration that you would need. We can help to facilitate that.
Yeah.
So does it read digital sign? Go ahead.
Yeah, it does. It does, as long as it's text, of course. Yeah.
You want to think of when it comes to a digital sign, so what it's going to read well are letters or numbers that are continuous. But if you think of sometimes digital displays, for example, like in my kitchen, if I read a digital display and the numbers are segmented. So by that, I mean, in order to make the number 1, it's like 3 segmented lines to make that number 1. The Orcam is not going to read a segmented digital display. But if the numbers are consecutive, yes, it will read off a digital display.
As far as mounting to a headband instead of glasses, that's great. That's a great question. I'll show again this little mount that goes on here. You really need it to be the width of the glasses that I have here, which is about 1/4 of an inch. Too much thicker, or if you've seen those larger sun glasses that kind of come all the way around and they have that thicker band, the mount is just not going to be able to get around the band. So over 1/2 inch, the mount is not going to function as intended. But if you have like a smaller headband, sure. And the other thing with a headband is that the band comes down, right? It's vertical. These are horizontal. So when we're thinking about mounting something that's horizontal, it's not going to work the best mounted on something that's vertical, like a headband, if that makes sense.
So perhaps you could work with your local rehab engineer to try to figure out
Sure.
a unique solution to mounting it to whatever portion or device on your head you want to wear. If somebody's not comfortable wearing glasses, we understand that. So we might be able to help.
Julia, or fire up your 3D printer, sell those things on Etsy. There's a plenty of Orcam users that I'm sure are in the same boat, would love to use it with other things other than their glasses. So,
and that's why the Read device is a nice solution, because some people just don't like wearing glasses. So the Read provides, a nice solution, and if you don't need all the bells and whistles of the MyEye, once again, the Read, they read off all the same surfaces. So both devices are going to read off books, plaques, your iPad, your cell phone, your computer. I mean, they're both going to read in the same way off all those surfaces. So if you do not like wearing glasses, the Read is a great option.
I'm going to go ahead and put my email here in the chat. If, as Ashley mentioned, if you have someone that you need a demonstration or you would like more information, feel free to email directly and I'll make sure that you're directed to the appropriate person in your area. And if not, then I'll work with you to get that demonstration going. I know we have a little bit more time. Ashley, I see you popping on, so.
If there are more questions, you'll go ahead. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and share our QR code for our participant.
Sure, of course.
Link here. Participant survey. Oops, let's go back. Here's our participant survey. Y'all can keep asking questions if you'd like. Feel free to interrupt. I'm going to wrap this up just by talking about APTAT, the project that our Rehab Engineering and Assistive Technology team is currently working on. This QR code will take you to our participant survey, which helps us keep a log of who participated in our AT trainings, and we do provide that information because of federal reporting, because we are receiving federal funding to provide these assistive technology trainings. The QR code is going to stay up at the top right side of your screen while I'll work through these slides. But if you have any more questions about the Orcam, please don't hesitate to interrupt. Let's see. Also, when you fill out participant survey, we are taking suggestions on future trainings. you have any that you would particularly like to request. I really appreciate, Amina and Michelle, you guys did great. Every time I wrote down a question that popped in my head, you ended up answering it. So
Nice. Great.
thank you for
Great.
that. Okay, so APTAT, let me tell you about that real quick. Accessing Potential Through Assistive Technology is a new project of the Rehab Engineering and Assistive Technology program. Our Rehab and Assistive Technology program is through the Alabama Department of Rehab Services. In the past, our REAP program was always able to provide services to individuals who are consumers of the Department of Rehab Services. Through this APTAT project and the federal funding that we're receiving, we're able to provide services statewide. And the activities that we will be providing are things like this: assistive technology training. A lot of that will be in the format of webinars so that anyone across the state can attend. We do have a lending library that we've started building here in the Homewood office so that individuals can check out items, try it out before they buy it. It could be also a short-term loan, or just reach out to me if there's a reason that you need to borrow assistive technology, and we'll see if we have it in the library and you can borrow it. We can also provide assistive technology demonstrations here in the Homewood office. You can set up a time to come meet with me, try out some of the technology that we have available. I do have access to a lot more technology than what's in our lending library. I have a lot of evaluation equipment that I've used through rehab engineering and assistive technology evaluations. It's not necessarily in our lending library, but I do have access to it. And as well, I have connections with the vendors like Orcam that maybe we could set up getting a device to trial with you in person. We can also provide technology assistance to organizations. So if your organization is looking to improve your assistive technology services, we can help consult with you to help you decide how to improve your services. We can also provide information and referrals. So if you reach out to me and say, hey, do you have a resource for this? Then hopefully I can get you to someone who can answer your question thoroughly. So our APTAT lending library, if you want to check that out, you can go to al.atforall.com, and that is a list of items that we have available for loan. You can borrow these items for short-term loans, either to try it out before you seek funding to see if it's going to work for you. You can borrow it for a short-term loan, either as a short-term accommodation, or if your device is being repaired, a client's device is being repaired and you would like something in the interim. Also, it can be used for professional development. So if you provide assistive technology evaluations and recommendations and you want to learn more about certain devices, you are welcome to borrow items from our lending library just to improve your knowledge of assistive technology. Just go to that website, add items to your cart, request the loan, and I will get with you to process the loan and make sure we get the items to you. We are able to ship statewide. So that's pretty awesome. That's a new thing that we got going. We have items in our lending library that vary from computer access devices, some independent living. We had a lot of items donated that are related to aids for daily living. So like different kinds of eating utensils. We are adding more in the near future. We're going to probably double the size of our lending library with items that you can use to help with cooking, smart home technology, more aids for daily living, computer access, things like that. We also are welcoming any requests. So if there's technology that you've wished you could get your hands on to try, we're putting that on our wish list. And in the future, as we're able to leverage more funding, we hope to be able to purchase items that have been specifically requested. We are also providing the assistive technology training. We have our webinars up and running. We're doing this monthly. If you would like to see what we have to offer and any other assistive technology trainings that I find that I think will be beneficial, I'm adding that to our startraining.org website. You can go to startraining.org/events, and I have a list of events that I've found that are related to assistive technology. We have in May coming up, Voice It, and in June and July, these are not yet announced, so you're the first to know. We will be doing a webinar on AT for mental health. And then also in July, we have one coming up. I'm using control bionics devices and how to set that up with environmental control, accessing things in your home with your smart devices. It's a communication device, but we want to expand on that to help reduce device abandonment. So if you have any training requests, please email me at ashley.mcelroy@rehab.alabama.gov. I do have a list of websites here. We have our training website where we're posting information about the services we provide. That's startraining.org. Go to Facebook, find us at Alabama APTAT, LinkedIn as well. Look for Access and Potential through Assistive Technology. If you want to stay up to date on the devices that we're adding to our lending library and our webinars, text APTAT to 22828. If you want more information about ADRS, go to rehab.alabama.gov. Our lending library is al.at for all. If you want to find out more about the services that can be provided through that federal grant, then that at3center.net website is a good one to visit. They have really good information on assistive technology services throughout the nation. And then I have a link to our participant survey. All of those links